Hello, everyone, and welcome to Halftime on the Hudson. I'm your host, Nick Sharito, alongside Sam McNamara and Johnny Martirano. Well, this is our first episode since the Super Bowl where the Eagles won in a blowout, 40-22. I'm not going to talk about the game because it is a little outdated, but you know what isn't? NFL free agency. And I would say one of the bigger free agents and what team has the most decisions to make are the Cincinnati Bengals. They have Jamar Chase, they have T. Higgins. They got a lot of decisions to make. So, Sam, you're going to be our designated NFL expert. What do you think they should do?
I think bringing back T. Higgins is so important for them because they're gonna pay Jamar a lot. That's guaranteed, but they also need that second option for Joe Burrow. You saw how well it worked for them this past season, but it's difficult too because they need defense so desperately. Um, but you just can't let a talent like T. Higgins go. So it definitely is an interesting argument for them. Um, but I think just pay your players now. This always happens in Cincinnati too. They have these guys that come in for 4 or 5 years, absolutely light it up for them, and then they're gone because ownership is cheap and they don't want to pay them. Just pay the players now. You paid Burrow, paid T. Higgins, paid Trey Hendrickson, paid Jamar Chase. I think those four are the pivotal guys on your team.
And, Johnny, there are going to be a lot of veteran quarterbacks that are in this free agency class. Which one do you think is one that we should keep our eyes on?
I think the most intriguing one is probably Sam Darnold. He's kind of young. He's 27, so he's actually the same age as Lamar Jackson. So he's still fairly young. He still has a couple good years left. I could see a team throwing maybe 100 million. Personally, I wouldn't give that to him. I think he's a little unproven, but he got the Vikings to 14 wins under his first year under Kevin O'Connell. I know he had a bad playoff game, but yeah, I think he's intriguing for a lot of reasons. Yeah, I mean, I could see a team like maybe the Jets going after him. I don't know if he'll go back to MetLife, but I don't know, maybe Steelers. I know they have some quarterback issues with Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, but I could see a team that needs a quarterback giving Darnold some money.
And Sam, the Giants, they got a lot to do, and I know you and I were both fans. What do you want them to do?
So this is the dream for me, and this is gonna be a stupid dream, but it is a dream. Sign like a Justin Fields for a year or two. Just he's a project, I know. Just see what you could do with them because I mean, let's be honest, this next season we're not trying to win anything. We're just waiting
Who's
for a
this
better
we?
quarterback class.
Who's this we? Who's this we we're talking about? You're at the Giants?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you have expectations for this team next season, I can't
Continue.
help you there. But just sign a veteran, sign a guy because Justin Fields is not going to be expensive at all. Probably 1 year, 15, $20 million. See what happens. We have a lot of cap space to play with, more than we've had in the past. So just give a quarterback, I don't know, just bring him to New York, see what happens.
Okay, well, I think based off of what we've seen from especially this year's Super Bowl, we have two teams that have spent a lot of money on particularly the offensive side of the ball. I mean, the Eagles, they paid A.J. Brown, they paid Jalen Hurts, they paid Saquon Barkley, have one of the best offensive lines. And same thing with the Chiefs. I mean, they have Kelsey and Mahomes eating up most of their salary cap. But where both of them succeeded was drafting very well, particularly on their defense. I mean, I know Chris Jones is getting paid a lot of money, but George Karlaftis on his rookie deal, Trent Duffy on his rookie deal, Leo Chanel also on his rookie deal, and same thing on the Eagles side, Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, and a whole Cooper DeJean and a whole bunch of others. Now, if you're a team trying to contend for a Super Bowl, are you looking to make that big splash? Or are you just trying to draft well at this point?
I mean, I think probably a little bit of both. You want to, I see it as in the draft, you go for the best player, and in free agency is where you fill your other needs. So, like the Eagles, they drafted Quinton Mitchell and Cooper DeJean this year and paid off for them. DeJean had a pick 6 in the Super Bowl. So, I would say probably target the best defensive players if you're looking for defense in the draft, and then try to target some bigger name players in free agency.
All right. Sam, do you have something to add?
Oh, I was just gonna say, if you're a team contending for a Super Bowl, don't go for just don't sign a guy for like a ton of money. I'd say more quantity, just get more role players in your free agency because that's what is needed to win a Super Bowl, and obviously draft well.
All right. Before we move over to the next topic, just give me one surprise that you expect to come from this free agency. Tough question, I know.
Trevor Lawrence to the Steelers.
Okay.
I'll say Giants go after Justin Fields.
The Giants go after
Yeah.
Justin Fields. Okay. Well, that's all we have for you for the NFL, but we're going to be moving over to the NBA, more particularly the All-Star weekend. Friday, they had the celebrity game, which I did not watch, plus the Rising Stars games. Then on Saturday, the Skills Challenge, where we saw something very interesting with Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama trying to cheat the system. Johnny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I saw a clip of that. They were just throwing the ball around, just like trying to cheat the system. Like, I think that's awful to watch. Like, the All-Star game is fun. It should be about the best players trying to do their best. I know it's not very competitive, but it should at least be somewhat competitive, fun to watch. And it was just not fun to watch at all. I mean, based off the clips, I mean, if I was sitting at home watching, I would have turned off the TV myself.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I absolutely loved that they were trying to do that, and you could very well tell that had Chris Paul written all over him. Like, he's always – one thing about great players is that they know how to cheat and get away with it. He tried it, but I'm also very glad that they disqualified them right away. It was like, no. Okay, but let's move on to later in the night. I mean, the three-point contest was a three-point contest. Kind of upset we didn't get like the Steph Curry versus Sabrina Ionescu, maybe adding a little bit of Caitlin Clark in there. But the dunk contest. We saw a dude jump over a car, and not like the Blake Griffin jump over the hood. We saw him jump over the cabin of the car while also grabbing the ball off the top of a guy's head and throwing it down. I mean, do we think Mac McClung has in some way, shape, or form saved the dunk contest?
No, in my opinion.
Even with Ja Morant teasing that he might do it, asking for Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon and Giannis being like, hey, don't forget about me.
I mean, like, Mac McClung has been great in the dunk contest, but I don't know. It just wasn't fun to watch. I mean, half the
I
guys.
disagree with that, but continue.
I mean, half the guys in it couldn't make a dunk in the first 2 rounds.
Except for him.
I mean, Stephon Castle was pretty good, but I don't know. I just haven't enjoyed the dunk contest in the past few years and didn't enjoy it this year.
I mean, Johnny, what do you think the NBA needs to do to just revitalize? If you agree with Sam.
Well, I think McClung has helped the NBA. I mean, I think the first year he did it, that was pretty cool. But now it's been 3 years. I think they need to change it up. But also the fact that Caitlin Clark didn't participate in like a three-point contest. I think the NBA needs to, find players in the NBA to fix their all-star game. And a good topic I know we were talking about before is 1v1s. Like, imagine seeing like a Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards going 1v1. I mean, you have a little bit of risk for injury, but that competitiveness, I think a lot of people want to tune in. And I think they're looking at that for the next year and years to come. So I'd love to see that.
I mean, if you want my opinion on the subject, a lot of people have been blaming Adam Silver for letting the players get away with like running the league and kind of blaming him for why the All-Star weekend has been getting worse and worse and worse. And quoting that David Stern would never let this happen. But if you were to ask me, Adam Silver is not the problem. He is trying to fix the problem. He is trying to give players incentives to try hard in the All-Star game And no matter what he has done, they're not doing it. That is not his fault. And fans are putting too much blame on him for no reason at all. Why don't you point to your favorite players? Why don't you point to the fact that Anthony Edwards also at the last minute, like LeBron James, was like, I can't play in today's game. And I think what the NBA is suffering from is that they're still relying on Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant to lead by example when they're all 36, 37, and LeBron 40 years old. When Michael Jordan was 40 years old, he wasn't required to carry the torch like LeBron is supposed to right now. When you're in your 21st All-Star game, I don't really care if you actually care about playing the game because you've already done it so many times. But when Victor Wembanyama, who's in his first All-Star game, gave a crap, that was nice to see as a fan. Jaren Jackson Jr. giving a crap. When the young stars are the young stars are the ones that's supposed to carry the torch, not the older guys. And that's my biggest issue is that Anthony Edwards, the John Morants, the Shea Gilgeous-Alexanders, they're supposed to be carrying on the torch. They're supposed to be trying. And I think another point that I want to bring up that our sports comm director, Andy Elric, brought up was that originally the All-Star game was the opportunity for fans to see players you would normally not see. Like you would never see somebody wearing a Supersonics jersey until the All-Star game. But because of League Pass and social media, which the NBA uses better than any other league, you get to see highlights of players all the time. And since the talent is so dispersed and there are a lot of all-stars that aren't all-stars, you get those high-key matchups almost on a nightly basis. But so when the All-Star weekend comes around, I guess there's not much to look forward to. And this isn't something that has to change from the commissioner. It has to change from the players.
I agree with that. I mean, they're just not playing in the All-Star game. I think you perfectly nailed everything you just said there.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. I mean, you want to see the players do well, and you want to see them try in the All-Star game. I mean, fans probably pay a lot of money to go to those games, see their favorite player. Like, let's say you're a New York Knicks fan, you want to see Luka. You don't really watch him that much because he's on the Lakers now. He was on the Mavericks, but
well, the Lakers are going to be getting a lot of games now.
But like somebody like that, somebody you don't see a lot play, you want to see them play at their best. And I think it's good that Victor Wembanyama, he actually cared, and I think that
and I think he will continue to care.
Like a guy like that who's like has already had such an impact on the league. I think other players should take note of that and try to like do some of the things he has done. I
think what's going to happen is that. I mean, you guys suggested a 1v1 because, that's when players start playing for their pride. They don't want to be on a national stage and like Giannis beats Kevin Durant in a one-on-one. Do you really think Kevin Durant wants people are already questioning, is Giannis a greater player than Kevin Durant? And then on a national stage, he beats him in a one-on-one. Like players aren't going to want that. And unfortunately, unfortunately, that's all we have time for this subject. We're going to move over to the NBA MVP race between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. Now, I know who I want for MVP. Sam, let's hear who you think should be the MVP so far.
It's got to go to SGA. I mean, he has been the best guard in the NBA this year, definitely. The numbers are insane. I think it's been a long time coming. I love SGA. SGA is one of my favorite players in the NBA. Jokic is insane. No one can do what Jokic does. But also, I don't think they're going to give him a fourth this year. And SGA has just been better.
Now, are you saying you think Shai is going to win because of voter fatigue? Or, is that factoring into, who you think should be the MVP? Or is that just, you just think Shai's having a better year?
So I think Shai is having a better year, and I was also thinking more who I think is going to win it rather than who should. I still think Shai should win it.
And Johnny?
I mean, it's going to be a close race right now. I mean,
absolutely.
Shai's a good player. Jokic, I mean, he's won 3 in a row, or not 3 in a row. He's won 3. I mean, like I said, voter fatigue could have an impact on that. But, I mean, you saw in the NFL, Lamar has 2 MVPs, and then Josh Allen won this year. You could argue,
rightfully so.
You could argue that Lamar could have won, but I think just based off the recency of Jokic winning so much and that Oklahoma City's right now is first place in the West, I think that SGA actually wins it.
All right. Well, I'm going to give my little spiel. Voter fatigue is probably one of the dumbest things that happens in sports because Nikola Jokic is having the greatest statistical season the NBA has ever seen. He's third in points per game. He's tied for third in rebounds per game. He's second in assists per game, 30, 13, and 10. And I'm going to round up there. He's actually fourth in steals per game and third in total steals. He's also fourth in three-point shooting percentage. Now, I'm going to make a take that you guys may or may not agree with, but Nikola Jokic is statistically the most efficient and probably the greatest offensive player the NBA has ever seen when it comes to scoring the basketball, passing the basketball, anything that comes with offense, finishing, shooting. He does that better. He does everything better than anyone ever could. Even screen setting. That's an offensive thing that he probably does better than any other offensive player. But I'm also a big advanced stats guy. I don't know about you guys, but right now he has the highest PER in NBA history. He has the second highest win share per 48 in NBA history behind only Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the highest box plus minus in NBA history. And I know the Thunder are tied for the best record in the league, but I'm not going to dismiss the fact that the Nuggets are a half a game out from having the fourth best record in the NBA, where historically speaking, only 7 NBA MVP winners were not a top 5 record in the NBA with winning the MVP. But above all else, the Denver Nuggets are the greatest offense in the history of the league with him on the court. When he's off the court, they are the Washington Wizards. They are a plus 12 in net rating, which would be first in the NBA when he's on the court. He is minus 12. The Nuggets are minus 12 in net rating when he's off the court. That is a difference of roughly 24 points. With SGA, and don't get me wrong, he's also having an MVP caliber year. He is plus 16 when he's on the court with the Thunder. When he's off the court, the Thunder are plus 1, a difference of roughly 15 points. So if you're asking me who's having the better statistical season, it's Nikola Jokic. When it comes to winning, obviously the Thunder have the better advantage. But when it comes to who's impacting the game more, it's Jokic, and it's not even close. And historically speaking, do I think he deserves a fourth MVP? Yes. It's just like he's playing better than he's ever played, and people are sick of it. And to be fair, I'm kind of sick of the fact that people are sick of it.
That's fair. I mean, I'm not into the advanced stats like you are. I don't know the advanced stats. I mean, obviously, when you put it like that, it favors Jokic a lot, but
it really just depends how much you value the Thunder having the best record in the NBA.
I value that a lot. I'd say I'd value it more than most people.
I mean, with this, I feel like it might matter in this case just because Jokic has won before and SGA is having a really good year, so I think it's going to come close.
Indeed, it will. That's all we have for you for the discussion topics. Now we're going to head over to Prove Your Point, so stay tuned.
Back for another episode of the Red Fox Report. Tommy Armstrong here with Back for another episode of the Red Fox Report. Tommy Armstrong here with Dan Allback. The basketball season surges on and new seasons begin. Let's get right into it.
Tommy, we got an exciting one to start. Marist against Siena in the Battle of I-87. 3,200 fans in McCann Arena, the first sold-out crowd since 2008. But 5 minutes left in the first. Marist leading by 4. Pasquarelli finds Price, slams it down with authority. He finishes with 13 points. But this is only the beginning of his highlight reel. In the second half, we're going to see him again. Jackson Price going to get a ball here from Elijah Lewis. We got a man down and a nice ball there. Let's listen into the crowd.
Price off the jab step, made the defender fall, and knocks down the three.
McCann is rocking, and with a minute left, it's still a close game. Major Freeman, who you just saw hit the deck, is going to hit a 3-point here, make it a 2-point game with under a minute remaining. The ensuing play, though, Jaden Collins-Roberts for Marist. Going to find the ball from Elijah Lewis. He only has one option. He's going to drive up with the right hand. Marist wins in front of a sellout crowd, 72-67 in a heater.
Marist men's lacrosse had their first game of the season against Mercer, looking to get back to that championship status in the MAC. Final 30 seconds of the first quarter, Colin Patrick flies in from behind the net and zips one through. His second goal of the first quarter gives Marist a 3-2 lead. Jumping ahead to halfway through the third quarter, Marist leads 5-4. This time it's Mercer's Will Zylstra who runs from the back line, finds an opening and delivers a strike. This would tie the game at 5, the first tie since way back in the beginning of the second quarter. Just less than a minute later, Patrick, this time directing traffic, finds Jake Deasy for the one time, giving Marist the 6-5 lead, a lead that would not slip for the rest of the game. With 12:47 left in the fourth, Marist leading by 4. Patrick puts in a game-high fourth goal. He would finish with 5 points as Marist explodes on an 11-1 run to end the game. And the Red Foxes are victorious in their first game. They take it 16-6.
Well, on the women's side of lacrosse, they are visiting Durham, University of New Hampshire. Hey, I know where that is. To begin their 2025 season, a 3-13 record last season. Let's see if they can improve. First possession for Marist, Catherine Windsor. She's going to find the goal through the defenders, go up 1-0 early in this one. 2-2 later in the match, 1 minute left in the period. It's Alexa Borges, finds the ball behind the net, passes to Jesse Manger, gets Marist their 3-2 lead to end the period. 3-3 score, 12 minutes left in the quarter. New Hampshire with possession. And Michaela Keys got the ball in the middle, and she puts them up 4-3, and she's not done there. 6-4 beginning of the second half. Keys scores her third goal of the game, finishing with 4. New Hampshire winning 15-5.
Marist women's basketball faces a lethal Fairfield Stag squad that is undefeated in conference play. 4:17 left in the first quarter. Fairfield early lead. Katie Lamro knocks down the triple, makes the lead 13-2 to start the game. 7:36 left in the second quarter now. Stags with a commanding 16-point lead. Isabella Nicoletti-Leite uses the screen, stop and pop for the bucket. She had 11 points and 7 assists. Fairfield extends her lead to 18. Just 3 minutes later, it's 33-18. Lamro inside this time for the tough finish. She had a team-high 17 points on 3 threes. The Stags lead by 17. With 6:09 left in the third, Fairfield leading by 23. Wide open three-pointer for Megan Anderson. Puts the finishing touches on early. A dominant win over the Red Foxes again, 80-49.
Well, a tough one there, but that's all we have for you today. Alongside Tommy Armstrong, I'm Dan Allback. We'll see you next time.
We welcome you to the Marist Minute presented by the Center for Sports Communication. Alongside Nick Sciarrito, I'm William Rosen. Let's dive deep into Texas for some softball.
Yes, Will. Marist softball took a trip to Texas for the first tournament of the season, the Texan Classic. The Red Foxes finished the tournament 4-1 with victories of 11-0, 5-1, 8-1, and 12-4 with a 9-1 5-inning defeat, led by Maya McDonald with 10 hits and 8 RBIs.
The pool was warm as the Marist water polo team finished a successful weekend at the Bruno Classic on Sunday afternoon in Providence. The Foxes split the final day of competition following the Pacific and defeating LaSalle in the fifth and final matchup. The Foxes go to 3-2 and 2-0 in MAC play.
The men's track team traveled to Massachusetts for the Terrier Classic. Ryan Chocolard placed 8th in the 400-meter dash and tied the Marist school record previously set by Easton Everwine, who placed 9th. Amari Mathis nearly tied the program record by 12th of a second in the 200-meter dash.
The women's track team competed in the same event, and it was a great day for the Red Foxes, with the runners setting personal records, 5 of them being freshmen. The 4x400-meter relay team earned their best, just coming in under 4 minutes. They will compete in the Fast Track National next week.
That's all we have for you on this edition of the Marist Minute. Alongside William Rosen, I'm Nick Sciarrito. Take care. Prove your point. Thank you. Welcome back to Prove Your Point. I'm your host, Nick Cerrito, and we have a wonderful matchup for you. On my left, you're right, we have a freshman phenom, in what you might say, and he is also related to Mike Breen. Let's give a big bang of a welcome to Michael Duda. How you doing, man?
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Round two.
Michael,
After I
Michael.
smoked my roommate.
Got smoked by your roommate last
No, I
time?
smoked.
Oh,
No,
you
I
smoked
destroyed
it.
it.
Oh, I'm
it wasn't
sorry.
even close, Nick. Come on, you were in there.
Hey,
In the
producer
audience.
Lucas. Well, you're also pretty close with your opponent.
Yeah, I am.
Honestly, I think he's a pretty cute kid. And on my right, your left, we have Quinn the Fury. How you doing, buddy?
Okay.
Come on,
Okay.
friendly. I mean, you think Mac Jones should be a starting quarterback in the NFL? So the takes are going to be hot. The fight's going to be hotter, and we're going to jump right into it. We have New York. We got Boston. Which city has the better sports franchises?
Gotta be Boston. Easily Boston. They got the most championships in the NBA, just past the Lakers after last season. They got the most, or tied for the most in NFL championships with 6 with the Patriots. Probably the 2 greatest franchises in their respective sports. Bruins and Red Sox also both very good. And all in all, in Boston, everyone's a fan of the same team. So, everyone's a Celtics fan. Everyone's a Patriots fan. In New York, it's 50-50. Not everyone gets along. And those parades in Boston, they hit like nothing else. They wouldn't get it in New York, but it's really something special up in Boston.
So, Quinn, I know you're a bit of a shy guy, so I won't critique you for being so nervous and just showing how nervous you are. But just so you know, your little happy-go-lucky parades, that's fine. New York has 8 teams. There's a reason why New York is better, folks. They have 8 teams. They're given 8 teams. The MLB, most World Series wins by far. I mean, it's not even close. I hate the Yankees, by the way. And of course, that's great. We have rivalry. They just all get along because it's a fairy tale land, isn't it, Quinn?
Yeah. So what you're saying is half of your entire city's championships come from one organization.
Okay.
Exactly.
It's still an
Yes,
organization
yes.
that's a part of it. And the
See?
Celtics, 39 for Boston. 18 of them come
All
from the
right.
Celtics.
All right.
Half don't come from the organization. Okay.
It's the same-
Wrong.
Dude, all of their championships were from the Stone era. None of those people.
And the Red Sox won it. The Red Sox won it. They won it in 04 and 18. The rest of that was before 1920. It was before the Depression. Come on. Give me a
Haven't won in
break.
16 years. It's been 16 years, and consistently they are top 2 in payroll year after year after year, and they haven't won a championship in 16 years. Like, you cannot come here and tell me that they're great. The Celtics, they just won last year. They have been the best of the best for years. They are always at the top.
Thank you.
And the Yankees, they're just not there. They're just not at the same level as Celtics are. And
Oh, I mean, they are there. They were just there last year, FYI. And
yeah, but
again,
did they win? Did they win?
No,
Oh.
they didn't. I was actually very happy about that. Don't get me wrong. 44-39, dude. Look at the numbers. New York has more championships. New York has more teams. They're given more teams. They have the rivalry part. There is nothing wrong with New York sports. It is far superior to Boston. This isn't even an argument.
Okay, can I just ask one quick question? Which city has more superstars?
New York. New York has the second, possibly the best player in professional baseball in Aaron Judge. They have Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor. Would you like me to get to some other sports? Because so far I've only done one sport. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns. I don't even know
Tatum's
hockey,
better
but I know
than
the Rangers have a bunch of stars.
What was that?
Yeah, Tatum's better than both of those Knicks players you just named. Karl
Probably.
Anthony Towns, not even close. to
Probably
Tatum.
is.
I don't even want to hear that.
I mean, we'll save that for later. I mean, I got plenty of great stats on Karl Anthony Towns. Probably a little bit worse than Tatum. I won't lie to you.
a little bit. A little
Probably
bit.
worse than
Oh,
Tatum.
come on.
Okay.
Come
All
on.
right, all right.
Star.
Hey, all
He's
right.
still
You know
a
what?
star.
Let's save the basketball talk because that's a perfect segue into our next topic. Now, we'll be honest. The first two, they hit close to home for me, but I don't get to say our live studio audience is the one that's voting on this. But, Duda, tell me, who has the better starting five, the New York Knicks or the Boston Celtics?
Yeah, Nick, it's the same team that's located in the better city. That's going to be the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. 36.5 minutes per game. How many minutes there are in an NBA basketball game? It's real close to 36 because the Knicks starting five is so good that they're always on the floor. Nobody on that team is averaging less than 15 points per game. They are full of stars. They have two starting all-stars. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns averaging a double-double. You're going to tell me you have Kristaps Porzingis at your center? Mr. Ooh, I play half my games. Former Knick, by the way. I loved him.
Loved.
Yeah, well, I mean, when they play 36 minutes a game, it just shows how bad the rest of the team is.
Correct.
With the
But the
Celtics-
argument is the starting five.
Okay,
Welcome
I'm
to the
getting
starting
Let me
five.
talk, Mike. Let's go. When the rest of your team is so good, they don't have to play 36 minutes a game. That's why their numbers aren't as good. Tatum doesn't have to go out there and score 35 a night. He just doesn't have to do that. Everyone around him can score 20 any given night. Every single one of them. Kristaps Porzingis, lights out three-point shooter when he's healthy. Derek White, Drew Holiday, some of the best defenders in the league, perimeter defenders, the best backcourt duo for defense, at least. And Tatum and Brown, they're both elite players. Tatum, probably close to top 5 in the league right now. It's not even like close. They have the better all-around team, better starting five, every way you want to play it. And when they play a good team, they actually play. Like they play down to their competition a lot, which they're very notorious for. But they do, when they play a good team, they do step their game up, especially the Knicks. They have not played a close game against them, and it's been great. So, go ahead.
So do you want a cookie or a medal? You won 2 games out of so far 54 that the Knicks have played and 55 that the Celtics have played. Congratulations. I'll give you a cookie after this. Anyway, let's break it down by position. The Knicks have superior guards. It's not even close. Jalen Brunson, who's a top 10 player in the league, arguably even a top 5 player in the league.
Not
Clears
even top
Derek
15.
White and Drew Holiday, who's putting up, 11 points per game. Ooh, I'm so scared. And they also have Josh Hart, who's a sniper. Now, I'll give it to you. The Celtics have better forwards, most certainly. Brown and Tatum are dogs. They're fantastic. So it's 2-2. What does it all come down to? The center. Give me the guy that's actually on the court and the guy that produces way more on the court. It's Karl Anthony Towns. It's not even close.
Why are we acting like OG Anunoby plays all these games? Like, you guys have struggled with injuries. That's why you lost last year. You guys play all these minutes, and then you lost in the playoffs in 5 games to Tyrese Halliburton. Like, come on.
Ooh, so he pulls a Gene. I mean, folks, I'll let you know, he did warn me ahead of time that he was going to do this because he just
Come on, Quinn. Friendly,
he gets
family
so
friendly.
angry. I mean, I get it when you're the little bro. I understand completely. I get it. You're just mad. I know. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't really know what to tell you. You can move to New York. It's a great place.
I will never be moving to New York.
Like
You
I
can
proved
tell-
earlier.
No, not
Like I
a
proved
shit in
earlier.
the world.
Except you go to school in New York. So
Yeah,
there's
no, I would
that.
never
I mean,
love
yeah,
here
you
for my-
kind of live in New York right
Hey,
now.
he's going to a Yankee game last time I checked. I don't know.
I have heard that.
Not willingly.
Well,
Not willingly.
you
You're
guys-
paying the money.
hey, pipe it down. Got one more topic left. You guys have been doing great so far. I have no idea who's winning, who's losing, but you know what? Live studio audience, they know. Well, let's go over to the MLB right around the horizon. But the Dodgers and the Mets, they spend a lot of money. I mean, the Mets have an owner that has a lot of money to spend. Hence why Juan Soto left the Yankees, and I'm depressed. But, Quinn, baseball salary cap, what's your take?
There has to be one. These lower market teams do not have a chance. Like the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Oakland A's, they do not stand a chance against Steve Cohen's wallet. Whenever the Mets it's time to rebuild. Oh, let's just open the checkbook and buy $800 million to Juan Soto.
$800 million. I don't think there's anyone that's that rich. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. Good talk.
We're going to talk about the small teams. Have you ever heard of this 2011 film? Brad Pitt's in it. It's called Moneyball. If teams actually have a real GM, they can work with a small budget. Now, talking about a salary cap. It won't work. You have Shohei Ohtani right now on a $700 million deal. You have Juan Soto, $765. That's going to go above $800 million. How is that going to work into a salary cap? The Dodgers and the Mets are going to have one player on their team. You're going to penalize them because they signed big beforehand? And what's the next big free agent going to do? Oh, look at this. Juan Soto's making $800 million. I'm so good. Maybe I can make $1 billion. Nope. You had a salary cap. Ooh, I get a whopping $100 million. Woo!
There's just not a chance in the world. The Dodgers have spent over $1 billion this offseason, and the Oakland A's are out here spending $66 million. It's like, it's not even close.
Moneyball.
Yes, but the good GMs, they get bought out by the good teams. All these GMs, they start small, and then they work their way up, and then they get hired by the big teams because all they want is money. It's like, it's not fair to these teams. Some of these owners don't have the type of money to fight with the Mets and the Dodgers. They just spend as much money as they can even think of. It's just not close.
Congratulations. You just described David Stearns, the GM of the Mets. He went from the poverty Braves to the wonderful New York Mets who have a ton of money. But guess what? David Stearns made the playoffs with the Brewers. It can be done.
You're proving my point right now.
It can be done.
You're literally proving my point.
It can be done. Look.
My point is the small GMs, the good GMs, they go to a big market team and they have a lot of success.
Prove what you want, but try and get Rob Manfred to go for it. Try and get the MLBPA to go for it. But Players Association? No way. This is not feasible. This will not happen.
The question is not if there could be one. The question is if there should be one. There should definitely be a salary cap. It's not even fair. There's the same three teams that are top of the league in pay year after year after year. It's just they just do the same thing, and then the small market teams, they just don't stand a chance because they're less of a fan base, less of a city, less of a stadium. They cannot compete. It's just not even close. You have to give them salary caps so they can actually be somewhat even. And so the Mets can't just sign everyone they please whenever they have to rebuild. Like, you're supposed to have a farm system, but when you just keep buying people out, there's no point. Like, you're just loading the team up with every superstar you can think of. Look at the Dodgers' whole entire roster. They didn't draft it they drafted only a couple of them. Like,
Clam Chowder over there can say whatever fairy tale he wants, but we live in the real world here where it doesn't matter. What matters is what can happen. I understand your point. You don't want the small teams to get left out. This can't even happen. We don't live in a fairy tale, Quinn. We live on Earth. Something has to be possible in order to get it done.
Yes, it's possible. All right, there is
How? How is it possible when Juan Soto is making $800 million?
It doesn't have to be implemented this year.
How? Okay. Oh, great. So let's implement it in 15 years when Juan Soto's contract is done and someone's making $1.5 billion.
What about
what?
Okay. Okay. You guys are getting really heated. Very entertaining. But you know what? Let's kick it over to our live studio audience. Yeah. Let's kick it over to our live studio audience. I mean, they're the ones deciding who's the winner between the two. Hey, come on. I don't know. They're usually a lot more excited. They're usually a lot more excited out there. But as far as I'm concerned, the votes are in. All right. Derek, how you doing? Okay, he's just ignoring me. All right. Oh, this is interesting. Very, very interesting.
I know the result here.
All right. You know what? Let's just do this one by one. All right. Well, actually, beforehand, Quinn, I know you've been wanting to go on debate. Was it what you dreamed of?
No, I am not an on-camera talent. I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to stick to my graphics. I I know I didn't win because the whole audience is filled with New York fans, but I think I did the best I could.
Biased. They're all out to get the graphics guy.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
no.
you know what?
Cry me a river.
Well, when it came to who had better sports franchises between New York City and Boston, Duda won 9-0.
What?
Okay?
Whoa.
Are we serious?
And he would continue that trend, clean sweeping the entire debate. Congratulations. You know what? Your uncle would be very proud of you defending the Knicks like that.
Of course, anything for Uncle Mike. I mean, what I'm mad about is the fact that I wanted to go to bed, but I had to come here and I had to debate this guy who's a pathetic excuse for a debate contestant.
Okay, you know what? Okay, well, you know what? I think that was a little too harsh. Quinn is a great contestant.
It's Quinn.
All right,
It's Quinn.
you just hate Quinn.
No, Quinn's a great guy.
Okay,
But
well,
he
you
just
know
doesn't
what?
know how to debate.
You know what? That's all we have for you to prove your point. We're gonna kick it back over to the desk. Quinn, Duda, thank you guys for joining.
Thank you for having me, Nick.
Welcome back to the Red Fox Report alongside Tommy Armstrong. I'm Dan Allback. Tommy, we have some great MAC matchups, but let's start with this intense Fairfield game.
Let's do it. Marist men's basketball off to the best program start in 4 decades. Take you back to the Rick Smits era. We're going to fast forward to some late game theatrics. Fairfield down 2. Guard Dion Perry, smooth operator into the lane, finds Peyton Smith for the clutch time layup. The 11th tie in this game. But right after Jaden Collins Roberts fouled by Smith, he'll be sent to the free throw line with seconds left. He misses the first, and now his second attempt also comes up short. Rebound, Fairfield. They'll have 1 second to get a shot off. Ball gets into Perry. 3-quarter court heave. Ball game. Fireworks in Mahoney Arena from 70 feet. Dion Perry cashes in and calls game. Gets it off just in time with 0.3 remaining on the clock. There was 3 MAC buzzer beaters this weekend, and this one on national television gets the SportsCenter top 10 nod. Perry told John Fanta he was practicing those shots pregame, and there you go, putting it into action. Hence, Marist, their second loss of the season.
Well, women's basketball looking to stay hot. They're trying to get their 5th straight win against Siena in the I-87 rivalry. Early in this one, Tarul says, hey, let me call the bank, and she finds out it's open. Marist starts a game on an 8-0 run, gets the 3 there. Late in the second half, Siena up 1. Senior guard Anaja Brown drives through contact, hits a layup with the left hand. Siena enters halftime with a 3-point lead, score 28-25. In the third, Siena up 40-35, and Teresa Sapala hits a 3, becomes the 31st Siena player ever with 1,000 points. Congrats to her. The next play, Siena 43-35 lead. Brown knocks down the defender with the left hand, strong through the content, finishing with 18 points, 9 rebounds. Marist, they're going to lose this one 62-46, dropping that 5-game win streak.
Back over to men's hoops as they host Iona, looking to sweep a season series for the first time since 2008. Second half, Marist down 3 with 12 minutes left. It's Travis Roberts in the corner who knocks down the triple to tie things back up. Roberts had a career-high 13 points. Just under 9 minutes, Iona up 7. Adam Jai Jr. with a swipe, then coast-to-coast, extending the lead to 9. Jai had 20 points and 3 steals for the Gales. The following possession, Marist needed bigs to step up with their top 2 centers out. Freshman Tariq Watson throws one down to cut the lead to 7. He had a team-high 16. Late push for Marist, down 5 with under a minute. Scramble at half court. It finds a wide-open Desor Reeves, who ices the game with a 3-ball from the corner. But this play, Marist will certainly look back at. No call on a questionable backcourt that led to the score, and Iona walks out victorious behind Reeves' 24 points.
Well, women's basketball has certainly exceeded expectations on the defensive front. They're second in MAC scoring defense, facing Iona in this one. Final minute of the first quarter, they've only given up 2 points. It's Daniel Williamson with a crossover, fires and pulls the trigger with that 3. 12 points, 5 rebounds. Marist leads 14-2. Minute and a half left in this half. Marist leading 11. It's Dee Petrillo who gets the inbound. She's going to fire a long 2 and make it. She finishes with 12 points. Iona only went 5 for 30 in that half. 5:46 in the third quarter. Marist up 11. Croker splits the double, finds Jackie Pittick for the layup. Marist with a 15-point lead. In the closing minute of the third quarter, Marist still up 15. Piddick gets the ball to Tarul on the left wing. Why not? Fires it, knocking down her second three of the game. Marist holds on to win 63-43.
A lot of intense matchups as the MAC play heats up in the heart of the season. That's all for this episode. For Dan Allback, I'm Tommy Armstrong. We'll see you next time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Marist Minute. Alongside William Rosen, I'm Nick Chirito, and we're going to run right over to men's track.
You know what? We're in Staten Island, where freshman Ramsey Heredia took home first place in the open long jump for the men's track and field team at the Fast Track National. Chris Lynch placed third in the 60-meter hurdles, and Amari Mathis placed fifth in the finals. All three players beat their own season best record.
Water polo headed to Indiana for the Hoosier Invite for a tough doubleheader against 12th-ranked Indiana and number 2-ranked Stanford. They battled in the first matchup of the afternoon, but ultimately fell short and dropped both games versus top talent.
Men and women's tennis team both secured their first win of the season with a 5-2 victory against Colgate, respectively. It was sophomore Katarina Asi and freshman Gregor Heinemann. They led the way for Marist, each securing quick victories at the number one singles.
The men's team continued their success, winning 6-1 to open MAC play against Merrimack. The women's team did the same thing the following day, defeating the Warriors by a score of 4-0. Both teams are 2-2 on the season and 1-0 in MAC play.
Alongside Nick Chirito and everyone at the Red Fox Report, we say thank you for tuning in to the Marist Minute. Take care.
Back. Quinn, Duda, they put on a show. Now, as we are waiting for some technical difficulties to put on the NBA hoop grid. Here we go. We're going to get right started. All right. So let's just start off right away with the Bucks and the Suns. First one that comes to mind for me, Eric Bledsoe.
Ooh.
Eric Bledsoe. For Bucks Suns.
Eric Bledsoe, E-R-I-C, and then space E-L-E-S.
All right, probably not my best. Actually, I do have another one for that one, but
All right, I have one for Mavs Suns. Give me Tyson Chandler.
ooh, I like that one. I was also thinking about potentially Jay Crowder, but for the Mavericks and 10 points per game, let's go Sean Marion.
Oh,
SH. There you go.
the '90s one is gonna trip me up.
Oh yeah.
Let's get this out of the way. Oh, this might be a stretch. Let's go Warriors, 10 plus points per game. Leandro Barbosa.
Leandro Barbosa. Nice pull. Nice. That's a nice pull. I'm trying to think for Mavs in the 90s and Jason Kidd. Mavs in the 90s. Very high, but at this point we're just trying to get it complete. But we're below 10% on all of them so far. I'm liking it.
Let's go Bucks, 10 plus points per game. Let's go Brandon Knight.
Ooh. All right, this one might be a bit of a stretch. Actually, you know what? Let me go Golden State and Phoenix. Damian Lee.
Dog. Steph Curry's cousin.
Brother-in-law, I'm pretty sure.
Brother,
Yeah, brother-in-law. I might have one for Bucks 90s. I'm not 100% confident, but Sidney
I know one
Moncrief.
for Bucks 90s, but
What?
it might be too obvious.
Sidney Moncrief?
No.
No.
Let's go Ray Allen.
Oh, yeah. That's a good
That's
one.
gonna be high. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's do Warriors 90s and the show. Tim Hardaway. Run TMC. Not Tim Hardaway Jr., Tim Hardaway. And
Let's go.
there we go. I mean, not our best score. Definitely could have been a lot better. But thank you guys for tuning in on this edition of Halftime of the Hudson. For Sam McNamara, I'm Nick Sherito. We'll see you in 2 weeks.